Welcome everyone to episode one of the Strength and Stone Show. As my first podcast, it's the pilot here. Basically, I just want to create a podcast where we can talk about strongman, everything related to it, nutrition, competitions, training prep, all that. Give you guys a little background on myself. So I've been competing in strongman for 10 years. I've done shows everywhere from local shows to national shows to world championships. Um, I got into strongman. I feel like you get into strongman either one way. You're either you come from an athletic background or you come from powerlifting. I came from an athletic background. I played at a small Division III school, played college football there for 4 years. Um, Studied exercise science while I was there. And after 4 years of football, I went 4 or 5 years of not doing anything. I was lifting, obviously, but not for any reason, and needed something to compete in again. I had that competitive drive. So tried CrossFit for about 2 weeks, realized that wasn't for me. And then I had a coworker of mine. He goes, "Why don't you try strongman?" He goes, "You're pretty strong for your size." And I said, "Okay, thanks, I guess." Um, but in my mind, strongman was just the open athletes, what you'd see on World's Strongest Man, like I watched growing up. But quick Google search found out there was a competition 4 weeks away, and only like 15 miles from where I was living at the time. So I said, "What the hell? Let's sign up and do it." Um, Took second out of three people. Had no idea how to clean a log, how to load a stone. Had never touched any of that stuff. But I was hooked. It was awesome. So from there, fast forward 10 years, here we are now. Basically, I just want to take my experiences, what I've learned from the past, good and bad, and answer questions, help you guys, bring guests on the show to talk to, um, and go from there. So I had a few questions that came across on Instagram. Uh, First one was, who do I think are the most underrated pro strongmen, like open guys, I assume, and then guys in my weight class at the 105s. So I would say open class, I don't pay a ton of attention to, but off the top of my mind, and I went and did a little bit of research. So Tristan Hoath, um, in my mind, is an underrated guy. He's a name you always see at the top, but people don't talk about him. So did a little bit of research. He's had 6 top 3 finishes since the beginning of 24, and then 10 top fives in that same time span over 14 shows. So he's a guy out of Canada that I think should be on people's radar, but isn't necessarily all the time. And then Matthew Ragg was my other guy that I had listed on there. So he's had top 5 finishes in 5 of his 8 shows since 24. So he's another guy that I think he gets a little more attention than Tristan, but a guy that still isn't talked about a ton because he's not one of your big names. Um, Going on to the 105s, a class that I know a little bit more about. I've been competing in the 105 class or 242s when it's USS for 10 years. So some of the guys I've competed against, I think get overlooked. Number one's Tyler Pruitt. Dude is a freak. Like statically, you may not think of him as one of the top guys, but he's usually right there. But if it's a moving event or an endurance event, like dude's going to be in the top 3. So I think he's one that gets overlooked. He just had a top 5 finish at Pro Strongman League 105s when I competed with him there. Dude is an absolute unit. He's a workhorse, so he's one that people overlook a lot, I think. Um, Another guy would be Kevin Candido. So I first competed against him back at OSG 21. Um, didn't really know him. We didn't know each other. We were both, I think that was both of our first shows at OSG. And like Kevin, and I, admittedly, I'm the same way. Like I never think of him as, oh, he's going to go out and win this event. But guy is just consistent. Like I wouldn't say he has like one thing that he's like he's going to win that, but he's consistent across everything. Just this past weekend, he took 2 event wins. The first day of America's Strongest Man, was sitting in first place going to day 2, and unfortunately tore his tricep, which sucks. But yeah, I mean, he was right there in line to win it. Someone else that comes to mind who's getting more and more attention just because he has had some higher finishes lately. He's an absolute freak when it comes to deadlift. Is Stephen Bradley. Steven's an awesome dude. I've competed against him a couple times, 3 or 4 times actually, and awesome guy. And he's just climbing the ranks. Um, he's an absolute beast. Like, good luck beating him in a deadlift event. Um, I mean, there's some other guys like my good friend Brandon Burley. He obviously has made a name for himself, but he was relatively unknown 3 years ago and just exploded onto the scene. And I still think he gets overlooked at some of the big shows like OSG. I mean, he's my pick to win OSG, him or Pascari. But people talk about Pascari and Tom Owens and some of the other guys, McKeegan, and forget to mention Burley's name. But he's he's a dude that I would look out for at OSG. He's my pick to win it. Those are the names that come to mind. A little bit more about me. Um, so I've competed at, I was just counting it up, 32 shows over 10 years. Like I said, I started out all local shows. Um, from there, I've competed at 5 national shows. My best placing being third place at USS, I think in 21 up in Minnesota. I've competed at 4 international shows or world championships. OSG 2021, I finished 7th place at. 22 was not a great year. It was like 22nd or 25th or something. I don't care to keep track of that one. Then I've competed at Pro Strongman League twice. Um, first year I took 9th, and this past year I took 11th with just a absolute freak of a class. I mean, it was probably one of the best 105 shows of guys compiled ever. Just a crazy class, crazy event. I'm also a personal trainer. I work with clients in person. I do online coaching. I've been coaching strongman for 7 years now. So I work with everyone from people that are just starting and want to get into the sport to I've worked with world champions. So I work with a little bit of everybody. Um, do a lot of nutrition work with people as well. I've had some great nutrition coaches myself, which led me to go get my own nutrition certification through Matt McKeegan. It's been awesome. I love helping people with their nutrition, mainly because I noticed what a difference it made for me performance wise. And that's what really gets me excited. Um, let's go to one more question we had here. We got a couple more. One question comes from a client of mine, Masters. Can they lift and not complain? I think some can. This one cannot. It's like finding the Goldilocks. If we go too light and too much volume, we get complaints. If we go too heavy, we get complaints. I can never be right, but one of these days I will, I swear. Another question that made me really think, hardest event that I've ever done. So, I mean, the easy route would go to be pick a static event where maybe you can't get a rep or you get 1 rep. I mean, obviously that's hard, but in my mind, hardest event comes to more like most taxing. Um, so something that's going like a full 60 seconds or a bunch of reps, or where you really just have to dig deep and figure out what you got inside of you. So first one that came to mind was the sandbag medley at Pro Strongman League. So that has been the event 10 where just the top 10 go to that. So 2 years ago, I was in that where we started with 10 athletes and we cut the field in half each time. So I got to the finals. So I had to do 4 runs of the sandbag medley. And we started with it was a 30-foot carry, I believe, with like a 300-pound sandbag. And then it dropped down to a 275-pound sandbag, and then a 250-pound sandbag, loading it over 48 or 50 inches. So I did that once, waited for the other heats to go, did it again, did it again, did it again. That was a taxing event. I think any deadlift for reps event is tough where it's not heavy enough to where you stop at 6 to 8 reps, but you keep going and you hit that 12 to 15 mark. Um, oh, like that reminds me, in 2020, I went to the Arnold and went and did the Rogue Record Breaker Deadlift Challenge. So it was 315 pounds for 2 minutes, as many reps as you can. I hit somewhere like 62 reps. I ended up finishing fourth. I think the winner had like 5 more reps than me, but the top 3 were all professional CrossFitters. That one was a most miserable 2 minutes of my life. I felt lightheaded and nauseous and absolutely horrible for the next hour. Uh, I just wanted to die. That was not a fun event. Um, I think truck pulls. If you have a heavy enough truck where it's tough to get it going, and each step you have to really put force in the ground, that can be a long, 30 to 40 seconds. I've only tested them. I haven't done a heavy enough one like that at an actual competition, but I've tested pulling some tow trucks that were brutal. One little dip in the ground and it can completely halt you, and you got to start over. Um, those are the ones that really come to mind for me on hardest events that I've done. Um, so that is my intro episode. I promise it's going to be less of me talking from here on out. It's going to be more me bringing guests on and hearing what they have to say. So I kind of want to bring guests on for different topics like programming, nutrition, mindset, and then just hear the guest stories. So I have talked to people. I have a good lineup of people coming on. We'll expect to do a show every 2 weeks or so. That's my plan. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you have questions, any comments, feel free to ask. We will be on Spotify and then potentially YouTube as well. So hope you guys tune in and enjoy the future of the show.